Detective Thomas Calder had always trusted his mind. For 20 years, he had tracked criminals, pieced together shattered lives, and followed trails that others overlooked. But lately, his own mind was betraying him. It started small. Misplaced keys. Forgotten appointments. A blank stretch of an afternoon he couldn't explain. Then longer gaps. Hours, sometimes an entire night, disappearing as if the world had swallowed him whole. He would wake in his apartment, the clock mocking him, the faint smell of rain on asphalt lingering in the air, though he hadn't left. At first, he blamed exhaustion. Stress. But deep down, a creeping terror took root. These blackouts weren't random. They had a rhythm. A pulse. And something told him it wasn't just his life unraveling, someone else's was too. 2 months ago, the city had been shaken by a series of brutal murders. 4 victims in total. Each discovered in abandoned buildings, posed unnaturally, as if the killer wanted an audience that would never applaud. The media called him the Sculptor. Calder read the reports, briefed his colleagues, catalogued every detail, yet each crime left him hollow. Something about the scenes felt personal, intimate, like a puzzle he couldn't quite place. And then the timeline hit him. Each murder coincided with a stretch of time he could not account for. A missing afternoon here, a vanished night there. The discovery was impossible. A trained detective, a man who prided himself on observation and memory, might have been present at the very crimes he hunted. He began keeping a journal, obsessively writing down everything he remembered and everything he suspected. But the act of recording failed to anchor him. When writing it down wasn't enough, he turned to a recorder, an unblinking witness to the hours he could not recall. That, too, would betray him. Sleep became dangerous. Dreams twisted into visions he couldn't decipher, shadows of himself committing acts he could not consciously imagine. He would wake screaming, drenched in sweat, unsure whether these were memories or premonitions, guilt or prophecy. Detective Marie Lang, his partner of 6 years, noticed the change. One night in the precinct parking lot, her hands shaking around a coffee cup, she said, "Tom, you're burning yourself out. This, whatever's happening, it's more than stress." "I'm fine," he said, and for a moment, he believed it. But Lang didn't back down. She suggested professional help, offered to map his missing time alongside crime reports, and pressed him to see a neurologist. He did. Dr. Elaine Forrester, a neurologist specializing in memory disorders, listened carefully to his account. "Your case is extreme," she said. "We're not just talking about lapses. You're experiencing dissociative episodes, your mind is erasing chunks of time, protecting you from yourself. But it's also allowing acts you cannot remember. You need to understand, detective, the danger isn't outside. It's inside you." The words cut through him. He nodded, but denial was thick, a layer of protective skin he could not shed. Then came the calls. Anonymous, breathless whispers, "Calder, remember, you've been here before." Each one ended abruptly, leaving only silence. He could not tell if they were real or hallucination, a voice from outside or a fragment of his fragmented mind. He retraced the murders, mapping crime scenes against his own life with Lang's help. The overlap was undeniable. Every blackout, every missing hour, coincided with a victim. Each life he could have saved. Each life he had lost. Calder tried every method to stop himself, staying awake, locking doors, chaining himself to his apartment. But the episodes were relentless. They came like tides, inevitable, and always accompanied by the unmistakable compulsion of the sculptor. Then he found her, his 4th victim, discovered before she disappeared completely. A young woman, barely 22, hair tangled, eyes wide with terror. The scene was immaculate, almost clinical, nothing like the chaos of previous murders. Every detail, the positioning, the faint streaks of paint, matched the signature of the sculptor. He did not remember bringing her there, but every instinct screamed he had. The recorder confirmed it. He listened, paralyzed. A voice, his own, yet not entirely his, whispering, "They will see me. They'll see what I make them into. I am the sculptor." Reality shattered. Every rational argument he had built crumbled. Every case, every lead, every suspect he had pursued suddenly felt meaningless. Calder was not only following the killer. In those blacked-out hours, he was the killer. Lang tried to help, to hold him accountable, to find a way to contain him. Together, they mapped, monitored, and documented. But even her presence could not restrain the episodes. Calder became both hunter and hunted, chasing himself through shadowed streets, abandoned buildings, and the fragments of his own memory. Days and nights blurred. Sleep was a trap. The city around him moved in normal rhythms, but his life existed in jagged fragments. Each face he passed, each life he glimpsed, was a life he could destroy, and had destroyed, while he slept. In the end, there was no triumph, no arrest, no closure. Only fragments. Broken memories stitched together by horror and realization. Calder walked the city streets in daylight, a trusted detective, a man sworn to protect. Yet in the quiet corners, in the creaking floors of abandoned buildings, he knew the truth. The most dangerous monsters were not outside, but inside, waiting patiently for the dark. And in the silence of the night, he whispered to himself, not as a warning, but as a confession, "I don't know who I am, but the darkness does."